special report.
Hi, I'm Diana Macedo. We are coming on the air with breaking news because the federal classified documents case against former President Trump has now been dismissed. Judge Aileen Cannon made that ruling, saying the special counsel's appointment, the appointment of special counsel Jack Smith, was unconstitutional. I want to bring in our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky, for more on the judge's ruling. And Aaron, this revolves around the Constitution's appointments clause. Where did the judge find this legal argument?
The judge fully agreed with former President Trump's defense attorneys that the appointment of special counsel Jack Smith by Attorney General Merrick Garland was unconstitutional. They said only Congress should be allowed to authorize the appointment of someone of Smith's stature, and only Congress is allowed to authorize the funding for an investigation led by someone like special counsel Jack Smith. Judge Cannon writing in her decision, Diane, that special counsel Smith's prosecution of this action breaches two structural cornerstones of our constitutional scheme: the role of Congress in the appointment of constitutional officers and the role of Congress in authorizing expenditures by law. This means that the prosecution of former President Trump, she said, over his handling of classified documents cannot go forward. And it now means the former president will not be prosecuted over his efforts to allegedly hoard classified material at Mar-a-Lago after leaving the White House, and his alleged efforts to obstruct the government's investigation to try and get those documents back.
And I want to bring in our senior reporter, Catherine Falders, who broke this story for us. Catherine, what does this mean for this case going forward? Can this still come together with a new special counsel, or is this case now over?
Well, it is pretty much over, and of course there will be some appeals here, I can imagine, by special counsel Jack Smith. We haven't heard from him yet, but what this means are the 40 counts that Donald Trump was facing. This was for the mishandling of classified documents and obstructing the government's investigation. 40 counts there in Florida. He no longer faces, totally dropped. We'll have to see how the special counsel reacts to this. I'm told by multiple sources that Trump has been made aware of this, that he was made aware of this pretty immediately. They are drafting a statement, either from the former president himself, so we should get that soon. But what this means is the case is over. This also means his co-defendants won't face any charges. His valet, well, now that the property manager of Mar-a-Lago, Carlos de Oliveira, also facing charges for allegedly obstructing the government's investigation. That's gone too. They were supposed to be down in court later this month on July 22nd for a status conference in the case. That will no longer happen. They essentially, this is totally done. We will see appeals. We're waiting to hear on what the special counsel, Diane, ultimately says. I'm sure we will hear something soon.
And I want to bring in our chief Washington correspondent, Jonathan Karl, on the timing here, John. Just months before the election, 2 days after an assassination attempt on former President Trump, and the day the Republican convention starts. What do you make of that? How big is this impact on former President Trump and the Trump campaign?
Well, first of all, Trump's allies are absolutely ecstatic about this. As soon as the news broke, I talked to one of his close advisors, somebody who's been intimately involved with trying to appeal this case, trying to stop this investigation, who referred to Judge Aileen Cannon as Justice Cannon. In other words, she has done such a solid for the former president that she'll be on the short list for Supreme Court should he get back to the White House again. I mean, look. Let's be clear about this. This was a long shot of an effort by the Trump legal team to get this case thrown out by saying that special counsels are not constitutional. I mean, we've had special counsels for years, including special counsels that have been cheered on by Republicans, like special counsel Durham, who was investigating the origins of the Russia investigation. So the idea that special counsels are not authorized by the Constitution because they weren't authorized by Congress is a, let's say, somewhat of a far-fetched legal opinion, certainly outside of the mainstream. But the Trump legal team made this case. They were throwing everything at the case, trying everything to get it thrown out. And here you have Judge Cannon issuing this shocking order, effectively killing this investigation on the first day of the Republican National Committee. It's really quite amazing. And by the way, let's not forget, this is the special counsel investigation into the classified documents case. But it's not. Jack Smith's also got a separate special counsel investigation into January 6th. And Judge Cannon has no authority over that. But by this reasoning, if you were to buy into this reasoning, that would be also an illegal, unauthorized special counsel investigation. Look, there's no real time to appeal this. And trying to go through an appeal just days after an assassination attempt is going to be optically difficult. But I would suspect this would be strongly appealed.
And I want to bring that point to our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas. Pierre, we're still waiting comment from Special Counsel Jack Smith. But what does this now mean for the January 6th case, which he is also overseeing? And what do you expect to hear from the Justice Department on this?
First of all, I just spoke to a senior Justice Department official who basically said they are scrambling, trying to understand this ruling. We're expecting to get some sort of comment from the special counsel, Jack Smith, forthcoming. Clearly, this is a stunning development. I can tell you an appeal is something that's definitely going to be considered. This special counsels have been a linchpin for the Justice Department in investigating politically sensitive cases. So right now, again, this was perhaps the most important case the Justice Department ever brought, and this was brought first, is now in jeopardy. We're waiting for the special counsel to respond. We expect DOJ will be responding very soon.
And Aaron, what are you hearing in your reporting about the larger impact here?
Well, there is a line in the decision from Judge Cannon that says that this does not apply to other jurisdictions. So the implication seems to be that while she found the appointment of Special Counsel Jack Smith in the classified documents case to be in violation of the Constitution, she does seem to suggest that it doesn't necessarily apply to the January 6th prosecution. So it's possible that that case could move forward unimpeded should the presiding judge, Tanya Chutkan, disagree, even though Trump's lawyers may try the same tactic, this long shot tactic, which has succeeded now in Florida. And it comes after a concurring opinion by Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas in the recent Supreme Court opinion about presidential immunity. There was nothing in that opinion that was supposed to address the appointments of special counsel, but Justice Thomas went out of his way to question the legality of appointing special counsels, and that seems to be where Judge Cannon down in Florida has gravitated to. It could be ripe for appeal by Special Counsel Smith and the Justice Department. Those Pierre notes, Diane, we have not heard from the special counsel yet.
And we haven't heard yet either from former President Trump on this, but our executive editorial producer, John Santucci, has spoken to sources close to the former president. John, what are you hearing about his reaction?
Diane, I did just speak to multiple sources close to former President Trump. They tell ABC News, shock, incredible. One person calling me saying, did you guys see this? We can't believe it. I think this is just an unbelievable moment, obviously, because of the last couple of days for former President Trump. But, this is the one case out of the four that, because of Judge Cannon, they had a bit of optimism. They had been saying repeatedly the hearings, the comments the judge was making in court, sources telling me that they leave court, and former President Trump was in the best mood. Our Catherine Falters has observed that in first person multiple times. I know she was just on with you. But I can tell you that for folks around Donald Trump, they have said, this has been a year that has rocked this former president, obviously, between the 7 weeks that he spent in Manhattan court, the shooting that happened, the assassination attempt this past weekend. But the fact that this came, as one person said to me, what happens tomorrow? It seems every day has just been something for this former president, and really a lot of luck on his side, as one person observed to me, Diane.
And Catherine, you were in the courtroom for most of this trial. What does this mean now for Trump's legal team?
I've been to literally every single one of these hearings. What does it mean for Trump's legal team? It means that they no longer have work in this case. Now, I will tell you, from sitting in Cannon's courtroom, Special Counsel Jack Smith has been there often. It's quite a different vibe than many of these other courthouses that Trump has so used to sitting in. This is a judge who Trump appointed to the bench, who has ruled in his favor, who he likes, in fact, very much. And you can see from sitting in that courtroom, there's an adversarial relationship between the judge and the special counsel's team. Judge Cannon has multiple times during these proceedings had to tell prosecutors with the special counsel's office to calm down. They're getting too worked up. At one point during one hearing months ago, she essentially said that they were being disrespectful and kicked everybody out of the courtroom. So this is certainly a case where the Trump lawyers were thrilled to have Cannon assigned as a judge, and clearly has worked in their favor. I was just on the phone with a couple sources close to Trump's legal team who have informed, obviously, the former president about this, and they told me, and this is a quote, that they hope and expect the same logic will apply to the D.C. case. Now, what does that mean? We know the special counsel was overseeing two cases, the federal case in Washington, D.C., of course, the classified documents case. They hope that the federal case, of course, also gets thrown out, too. We know those proceedings have been paused. They will resume eventually here in the coming days. So that's at least what we're hearing so far from the Trump legal team. No comment right now from special counsel Jack Smith. I can imagine that we will be hearing from him soon, either publicly or in a court filing, Diane.
John, what does this mean now for Trump going into the Republican National Convention without having to worry about this case? And what are you looking to hear from him on Thursday?
Well, look, this just adds to that air of triumph that he's going to bring into this. Leading in the polls, surviving the assassination attempt the way he did in Pennsylvania, coming in as you talk to delegates already here at the convention, you get the sense that they're treating him as already the president-elect. Obviously, there's 4 months of campaigning to go, but there is a real sense that he's got it all going for him, and this certainly plays into this. And I have to say that there's something else about the timing here. Look, Judge Cannon has already been overruled on matters, including, by the 11th Circuit, which is a conservative circuit. So there is little doubt that an order like this would be ripe for appeal, and she would quite likely be overruled on something like this. But coming when this has come so late in the process, in a case that has been delayed over and over and over again, I mean, there's no time. There's just no time. There was already highly, highly unlikely that this case could have come to trial before the election in November. But, I mean, this is now, I mean, there's just absolutely no way. And, Judge Cannon, as Aaron pointed out, saying this doesn't necessarily affect other jurisdictions. Well, of course it doesn't, because she has no jurisdiction whatsoever over that January 6th case. And I would see zero possibility that Judge Chutkan, in that case, would agree with this highly unusual reading of the special counsel statute to throw the case out on the grounds that Judge Cannon has. But no, this is going to be a triumphant Donald Trump. The one thing that he has signaled about his speech, he has said that he has completely rewritten his speech based on what happened in Pennsylvania, making it a speech that is now aimed at national unity. We'll see how this impacts that, but certainly Republicans feeling like they've got the wind at their back right now.